What's up, everybody? This is Matt Brown with another IoT hacking video. Today we're going to take a look at a new project I have over on the workbench, a VTech baby monitor. And we're going to be taking a look at a digital signal that I found on this circuit board with my logic analyzer, and we're going to be using Claude Code to automate some of the analysis of that signal. If you are new to this channel, my name is Matt Brown. I am an IoT pen tester, meaning I find vulnerabilities in systems like this in my day job, and I love to share this educational content with you. So if that sounds cool with you, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And I have recently launched a training platform. So I just want to shout this out because not only do I have my course up here on digital signal analysis, I also got Andrew Bellini with his introductory IoT hacking course. So go ahead and check those out in the link in the description, and check out the coupon codes that are associated with those respective courses. Let's go over to the workbench and take a look at this device. So I have this baby monitor here that I kind of got out of e-waste, and so I thought, what a better thing to take a little look at. So on the back of these baby monitors, what I have found super interesting is that these devices from multiple different manufacturers seem to have a very similar pin layout. So here you can see this is a VTech baby monitor, and you'll notice these very distinctive pins right here. And if we go ahead and we look at the casing of this device, those pins are exposed through these little holes in the case. Now, so this is made by VTech. I have another device that I actually, use in my home here. This is from Motorola. You'll see that same exact pin layout. So I have seen multiple different manufacturers have the same pin layout, so I thought it would be interesting to dig into some signals, anything I can glean off of this device. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on continuity mode of our overlaid multimeter here. And so obviously I've got my probes here, and you can see on screen the resistance readings there. So right now I have this device turned off, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little quick analysis here on these pins. Obviously, there are a bunch of test pads all over this device, but I'm most interested in these test pads because they're clearly meant for some kind of debug programming, some kind of external access. Because again, we have this casing where those holes are kind of meant to be exposed without taking apart the device like I have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find ground. So, okay, the shield is grounded. And then I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to probe looking for that ground pin here. And we can see right there we have ground. And if I recall correctly, none of those other ones are ground. So right here down at the bottom, it is labeled COM2. I don't want to stick my face in front of the camera, but I believe that's what that says. So we have ground right down here at the bottom. Now what we can do is we can actually turn the device on. We can power it on, and we're going to switch over to take some voltage readings here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see not much there. Okay, not much there. Okay, 3, kind of 3 volts on that pin. There, we've got another 3-volt pin. Same. All right, and then a 5-volt. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now that I've got some signals here, so I'm gonna for now ignore this 5-volt pin because that is most likely correlating with my power supply here. I believe that this is a 5-volt. I actually don't know. Let's take a look at this together. So oh yeah. So that is 5 volts, and so that is most likely just the power rail. And so we can kind of ignore this top pin. So these pins, I believe these 4 pins, let's go back and check that. Okay, these top 3. Okay, yeah, it's these top 3 that had 3 volts. So those are what I'm kind of interested in, especially on boot up. So luckily I don't have to, you know, plug and unplug this. I've got this, you know, connected up to a power adapter up here where I can kind of toggle a switch to turn this on and off. And so what we're going to do is we are going to set up my logic analyzer. So this is my Soli MSO logic analyzer. It is definitely overkill for the task we're about to execute, except it has some cool Python libraries that are going to allow us to integrate Claude code into our analysis of these signals. So let's go ahead and put those pins down there. And then over here, I've got ground. So just gonna connect it up there. Obviously I could connect to a few different places to grab that ground signal. And now we're gonna come over here to our logic analyzer. So let's go ahead and just clear the field. And I'm gonna power the device off. And so right now I have just these 2 channels, just confirming. So I've got channel 0 and channel 1. Let's go ahead and, oh yeah. Actually, I'm gonna check that my CMOS setting is correct, which it's not quite correct. It's a 3.3 volt signal. And let's go ahead and start our capture. Okay. They're low, that's because it's not powered on yet. Powering on the device. And right there on channel 1, we are observing a signal, which is super interesting. Let's go ahead and look at that. So definitely looking like some kind of a digital signal that isn't just like a clock, right? So yeah, because these are not super uniform transitions from high to low, right? So we are going to decode this signal, but we're actually going to do it side by side and kind of a race against AI. So we're going to give Claude Code access to this signal with a skill that I recently published as a part of my IoTHackBot repo here. So this is a Claude Code plugin that loads a bunch of different skills, but the skill we're going to be using today is the Logic MSO skill. Again, this pairs with a Python API, a Python library that integrates with my logic analyzer. So what we're going to do to use that, first, we're going to do an extraction. Now you can do live, you can use this Python API to do like a live capture, but integrating that with AI is a little bit clunky just because one of the things that Claude has trouble with is doing timing, right? To time when to take a capture like that. So I'm just gonna export it. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go, oh, I have to hit stop. And let's make sure we're zoomed in on where the signal is. And you'll see why in a minute here. So I'm gonna go to File and say Export Raw Data. And here's why I said it matters what I have in view of the screen, because I can either just have it have the whole time in the history, but there's a bunch of stuff that we don't care about in there. So you can say, okay, just export what's visible in the screen. And I want to do it in the binary format. We'll kind of see why in a minute. But and then I only want channel 1, the channel that actually has the signal that is interesting that I want to decode. So we are going to export this file, and I'm going to call this testsig right there. And then we're going to head over to our Claude Code session. So over here, I've got that new digital signal file right here, this binary file. And this is a file format that is kind of specific to the Logic MSO interface, that Logic 2 software allows us to export it, and the Python API allows us to load it. And so I here inside of Claude have already installed this skill. So I can go /skill, and I can see that all of these different skills that are a part of the IoTHackBot project is loaded. And so we are going to be using this Logic MSO skill today. It's loaded, ready to go. And so all I'm going to say is, okay, so this is our file. I'm going to say use your Logic MSO skill to decode this signal. And that's it. We're just going to see if it can decode it. And let's go do some manual decoding. So if you want to know a little bit more about how to manually decode digital signals that we find with a logic analyzer like this, you should check out my class, because that is all of what my class is about on digital signal analysis. We go over all the common signals, including the one we're going to find right now. So let's zoom in here, and we're going to just take a stab in the dark that this is the most common type of digital signal, UART. And the other reason why we're going to guess that is because we don't have another signal. Now, obviously, I haven't probed all those other pins, so just kind of believe me that I looked for other interesting stuff and didn't find anything. But this specific test pad has a signal. And so whereas other signals need a clock signal to kind of be alongside of the data signal, UART doesn't need that. So UART assumes where both sides know what the data rate is. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on this signal and see, well, okay, so here's the smallest set of transitions. What could the baud rate possibly be? Well, right now, the tooltip, let me try to go over here and make the tooltip go not behind my face. Okay, well, we're going to do this for the first time. Whoa, all right. Now you can see the tooltip, which is where my face usually is. So see where it says width 115, 354 kilohertz. So that is approximately the most common baud rate of 115, 200. Okay, we're going to put my face back. Whew, feels better. I'm back. So yeah, this is kind of like characteristic, that width of the most common baud rate. So again, we kind of have this signal, this kind of hint that, okay, maybe this is actually serial. So what we're going to do is we're going to go pop into our analyzer, pick async serial, and we're going to say 115, 200. We could pick the exact baud rate that it thinks it is, but as long as you're close, it's good enough. All right, and then channel 1, and we're gonna leave all these other settings as their default. That's what you should do when you're first like hypothesizing that it is a UART signal, and then if something is a little bit off, then you might have to go look at these non-standard settings, which we talk about in the course. So, but we do this in this case using all the standard settings 99% of the time. It's just gonna work for you. And so we are going to see that we are getting all sorts of ASCII data. So this is great. So we are getting, when the device boots up, when we first power it on, we are getting kind of a burst of text-based data that is coming across the line. And so we have these two views. The data table view is kind of worthless, unless if you're exporting it to a CSV file. But here we can see the information that this device prints out when we boot up. So it's it's got a bunch of stuff. So right off the bat, I can tell that this is not running Linux. This is a low-level microcontroller, kind of like a bare metal system, and it's nothing I've ever seen before. I think this is something very custom to kind of the Motorola VTech world. These devices probably all share the same underlying tech anyway. Just based on the debug connector being so similar. But here you can see that we are getting something really kind of interesting that I could go down the line in the future. I have been playing around with these actually. But in this video, we're not gonna send anything. We're just decoding the signals. But we do get some really helpful information that says, please key Y or Y, lowercase or uppercase, to execute ATE mode. There's a display debug information. That can be really helpful if we're trying to perform a security assessment on this device, or some kind of enabling LCD dynamic settings. And so then it boots up and it starts streaming video, right? So that's cool. Let's go over and check on how Claude Code did. Wow, it's still actually running. I'm actually surprised by that. Okay, but let's scroll up and let's see kind of its process looking through this signal. It says, okay, cool. I'm gonna check if the library is available. It was the Python library for interacting with the logic MSO. Okay, so, oh, awesome. So here it says, interesting, the dominant timing clusters. So it's just looking at the transitions, right? This is all the Python library is kind of like feeding into Claude Code. Is the timing transition. It says the dominant timing clusters are around 8.7 microseconds, 17.2 microseconds, and so on. These are multiples of approximately that many milliseconds, which is what we see over here, right? Okay, let's zoom back in on one of the smallest transition points. You can see up at the top of the tooltip. Now the tooltip goes in the right place, of course. We can see up here, right towards my cursor, it says 8.672. So that is approximately what it's seeing here as the shortest, the shortest time between transitions. And so, which corresponds to a 115/200 baud UART signal. Awesome. Let me decode it as UART. And then it does its thing. The output doesn't look like clean ASCII text. The first part especially looks garbled, which is true. That's what we're seeing, right? I think that's why Claude Code is like trying to figure out what the heck's going on at the beginning. Because if we look at the beginning of this, it's just a bunch of junk, right? And honestly, it could be one of two things. Like this could be just not text-based data, right? It could be binary. So we could go in here and we could select hexadecimal and we could just interpret the data as hexadecimal bytes. But we're also getting some framing errors. See, I think this is just noise. I think this is pure noise at the beginning. I don't actually know. But let's go back and let's scroll ahead a little bit and see if it can start to figure out, okay, at something baud and above, okay, at that baud rate and above, it jumps to 100% printable. Whoa, okay. That is really fascinating. This is absolutely new information to me, by the way. Like, is the baud rate off? No, it's not. No, I still think that's noise. I thought we just achieved an epic breakthrough, but I don't think so. No, we didn't. Okay, cool. Awesome. So here we go. Decoded output. Segment 1, bootloader init. It's seeing all of the stuff. It's decoding the UART signal properly. And the cool thing is that in the context of like it decoding the signal, it's gonna kind of summarize the data here. And it actually says this is a VTech baby monitor UART boot console. That's pretty cool. I wonder if it's got to be using the context of like the directory that it's in. I bet it's using that context. Otherwise, I don't know how it would know that, because that's pretty impressive. Oh, actually, no. It's saying the model ID is related to that. That's pretty cool. So this is just a little bit of the work that I would do if I was doing a full-blown IoT pen test on this device. Right now, I'm just kind of poking around with it for fun, looking for cool targets that have digital signals out in the wild. And we can turn that off. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I really hope that you have enjoyed this kind of deep dive I've been doing on digital signals that I find around various devices. And as always, if you're not subscribed yet, hit that sub button and have a good day.